There's a knock at your door, and on the other side is a CPS investigator. The investigator says that they've received an allegation that you've committed child abuse or neglect, and they want to ask you some questions. Do you know how to answer their questions? Do you know what questions you should refuse to answer during your CPS interview? Even though we highly recommend that you have an attorney present during any CPS interview, we understand that not everyone can afford to hire an attorney at a moment's notice. If you decide to go it alone, then there are a few things that you need to know. Also, you need to know how to defend yourself during the first 30 seconds of your CPS interview. The first 30 seconds of your CPS interview are the most important. CPS investigators have repeatedly lied to parents to gather incriminating evidence and then used that evidence to place children into foster care and initiate criminal charges. To protect yourself, you need to record everything. Even if the CPS investigator objects to the recording, you are still legally allowed to record them using video, audio, or both. Texas is a one-party consent state when it comes to recordings. As long as one party to the conversation consents to the recording, then the recording is legal. The one party consenting to the recording can also be you, so don't let the CPS investigator tell you otherwise. Before we get into the questions that the CPS investigator will ask you, let's discuss some of the questions that you need to ask them. You need to ask the CPS investigator to tell you exactly what the allegations are against you. Take your time during this portion and be very thorough. Take very detailed notes and force the CPS investigator to go slowly and point by point. You'll have to restrict the urge to defend yourself or explain away their allegations. Remember, you're trying to gather information at this point. Use phrases like, "Just to confirm, you've given me a complete list of the allegations against me, right?" Ask follow-up questions about the allegations. For example, if the CPS investigator says that they've received a report that you were using marijuana, then get as much detail as you can about the specifics of the allegation. Ask, did the reporter say when this allegedly happened? Did the reporter say where this allegedly happened? Did the reporter say how they learned about this alleged action? Did the reporter say whether they had personally observed this allegation? Your goal here is to learn everything that CPS knows about what the reporter alleges that you've done before they can change their story. One thing that you will not learn, though, is the identity of the reporter. Legally, CPS is not allowed to disclose that information, so don't even bother asking. What you can ask, though, is whether the reporter is a professional reporter, like a teacher, doctor, or a counselor. The reason this is so important to learn about the allegations against you is because the allegations will guide the rest of your CPS interview. Our goal in sharing this information is not to protect criminals or child abusers. Our goal is to protect the constitutional rights of parents. If you're a child abuser, then you should be caught and you should be prosecuted. Children deserve our protection. And my goal is to educate parents because sometimes CPS attacks innocent parents. But it is terrible when a CPS interview goes wrong and innocent children get swept into the system. I have never once fought to put children back into a home that I believed was dangerous for them, and I'm not going to start now. I can't tell you every question that CPS is going to ask you, but I can tell you the general categories. I've sat with countless clients during their CPS interview, and they've taken anywhere from 30 minutes up to about an hour. CPS has a general questionnaire that they tend to follow during the CPS interview. It is very invasive and has very little to do with the case that they're actually investigating. During your CPS interview, you can expect to be asked questions about your parents' names, where you grew up, whether you were in a foster home as a child, how you were disciplined as a child, and about 50 other questions that have absolutely nothing to do with the allegations against you. The scary part about this is that they put every answer you give them into their government database. To this day, I still can't tell you what they do with that information. You have no obligation to answer any of these questions during your CPS interview. You're now going to understand the importance of learning every detail that you can about the allegations against you. I routinely stop the CPS interview during these invasive background questions, so that way I can inform the investigator that my client will not be answering any questions that are unrelated to the allegations of abuse or neglect. The CPS investigator will get upset. They're gonna get annoyed, and they will lie to you and tell you that you're being uncooperative in an attempt to get you to give them information that you don't have to give them. Be polite, but be firm. Eventually, The CPS investigator will get around to asking questions about the allegations. What you need to remember here is that the CPS investigator is an agent of the government. They may not be wearing a badge or a gun, but you should answer their questions just like you would any police officer. I would never recommend anyone answer questions of the police without an attorney present. That is my same recommendation when it comes to your CPS interview. In both instances, you should invoke your right to remain silent because everything you say can and will be used against you to terminate your parental rights, as well as in your criminal prosecution. However, what you want to know about today is how to answer their questions. Rule number 1, do not lie. If you insist on answering questions, then you should be honest. If you are caught lying, then all of your credibility will be lost should you ever need to testify in your defense. Rule number 2, focus on the allegations. You should have already learned about the allegations against you, so when CPS begins asking questions that aren't related to those allegations, like those background questions, remind them that you aren't willing to answer questions that are unrelated to the allegations. Rule number 3, stay calm and professional. Remember, there is a high likelihood that you may need to play this recording in court if the CPS investigator claims that you confessed to something that you didn't. The judge may view you more harshly if you are swearing, being derogatory, or making threats against the caseworker. Rule number 4, feel free to stop the interview at any time. Just because you begin to answer questions doesn't mean that you're obligated to continue answering questions. Inform the CPS investigator that the interview is over and politely ask them to leave so you can hire an attorney. If you're uncomfortable or if the questions begin taking an unexpected turn, trust your gut and get out while you can. Rule number 5, get what you need and then stop the interview. If you want my honest thoughts, then here's what you should do. Ask the CPS investigator every possible question you can think about the allegations against you, and then stop the interview at that time. You'll then be in a much better position to hire an attorney, and you haven't answered any questions that could harm you. From all of us here at Matthew Harris Law, please share this video with your circle of friends.